bonus with the controller for Super Nintendo, for the SNES. You can plug this into the Wii U, and use an SNES controller on games.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I'm going to do that for sure.
Not the Switch, though.
Yeah, not the Switch.
The Switch has
Gotta get a cardboard box for that.
Go check out the Horror, Philosophy, and Culture podcast, Scary Thoughts. Co-hosts Mark Cate and Chad Lott cover classic auteur horror films while going deep while keeping the conversation light. You'll laugh, you'll learn, and you'll spend more time than you ever imagined listening to two nerds talk about obscure ideas and weird films. To listen, go over to iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, or wherever you receive your dark sermons from the cursed minds of the damned.
Of the damned.
All right, so this week we cover the top-selling publisher of 2017, Amy Hennig in Polygon, Castlevania, Nintendo Labo, and the Venom movie. We also hang out with Mark from Elthos, and we give full spoilers on Doki Doki Literature Club.
What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Comically Gaming, episode 88.
88.
Sweet. 88.
Yep.
Ocho.
How's our weeks? Let's go. Let's let Jeff start.
Oh my God, crazy week, dude! Crazy week.
I'm sorry. Let me tell you to start it off and then interrupt you. Let's talk about Destiny quick because we all just spent all day playing Destiny.
Oh. Yeah, for sure.
That's why I'm exhausted.
Otherwise, that'll be in all of our sections, right?
It will be, yes.
I was so ready to be pumped for the show tonight, and that raid just beat me down.
Yeah.
Dude, it was. You know what? Looking back over it, we were doing really good at the first half, and I think either we're getting tired or we were changing it up too much. Because when we switched over to where Adam was with me, it started failing because Adam's such a gung-ho lumberjack that he runs in and grabs that orb, and he's already on my side by the time the ogre pops up. Corey had it perfect the way he would come up to one side, shoot his nade right as I was throwing my knife.
Yeah.
And we were not having a problem, but Leroy Jenkins over here, and then he's like, yeah, get out of here, I got this. Like, I'm going to hold down the show. And I'm like, dude, that's not how it works.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know. And
we went about
it. Like, me and Corey have done this a lot. There was a year where we would do it every single week, right? And most of the times that we did it was like that. We did not get to the end. We would have a group where you would get 3 hours into it and then 2 people drop and more people would show up, and eventually you would kind of get the right mix of guys where you could kind of nail it.
Yeah.
You know, clearly when we were 4 hours in today, we were not going to beat this, right? And and I feel like Destiny, you know, to be honest, I will not do that again. I've done it too much at this point. It's too hard, right? Like, I feel like they really do need an easy mode because I love the mechanics of it. I understand why they don't, but I feel like it just keeps people away. You know what I mean? If that was easy enough so that a bunch of noobs could beat it when they have 7 hours to beat it, then I'd do it more often. You know what I mean? But at that kind of difficulty, it's like it's got to either be the only thing that you do, or you got to have way more free time than I have.
Yeah, it's probably the hardest raid I've ever done in my gaming career.
We were almost past that section.
Well, it was just...
It is
almost past the first part of the first section.
That's like the first room.
It went about how I thought it would go. I mean, with the group we had.
It was brutally hard. Is Dirk breaking up, or is that me?
Dirk.
He's breaking up.
Because I've played, you know, I've run raids in World of Warcraft. I've done raids in Knights of the Old Republic. And the Star Wars The Old Republic, those raids were fun. You had puzzles you had to figure out, you know, certain damage types at this point. Then when the colors changed, you had to shift positions and people had to man switches. And so there's a lot of mechanics like this was in Destiny. But after 4 or 5 times, 6 times maybe wiping and doing it over, you got it. And it didn't
Right.
take 4 fucking hours to get your ass beat around.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah, and in the first game, you had to do that to max out your character. Like when it was vanilla, totally vanilla, there was no way to get to max levels without beating the raids. Now
wow.
they finally made it so that there's a bunch of different things you can do or whatnot. But okay, I just wanted to see what you guys thought about that. It's to me, like, I don't normally like games that are that much of a challenge, so it's kind of the unique side of it keeps me coming back to it. But yeah, too hard.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff. Now
It was really
the rest of your week.
awesome week this week. You got a SNES Classic.
That is the hotness.
Feels pretty weird to put this controller back in your hands.
What are you most excited to play?
It's just crazy, dude. It's
Super Mario, I'm sure.
no.
Link to the past.
I fired it up.
buddy. Link to the
I
past.
fired it up, and you got F-Zero, Street Fighter 2 Turbo Edition, Link to the Past, Secret of Mana, Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart.
Blue Mana.
There's so much stuff, and going back on the old controller, you have to press start and select to actually make different selections. You can't just press A with the cursor, and
I love it.
It threw me back. And so the first time I played was Street Fighter 2, beat the wife.
Nice.
I was using Ryu, and it was like jumped on there, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is how you play this game. And she's
Who'd
like,
she
you played
choose?
this. She choose
Chun-Li?
Chun-Li. Yeah. And so we switched. And so I like, well, you play Ryu, I'll play Chun-Li. And I still beat her to Chun-Li.
Nice.
So played that. Played some of that Kirby Dreamland with my son.
What do you
And
think?
he was all over. It's all right. It's okay. It's not my game. But he was down for it. He loved it. He was.
So here's my
digging
deal,
it.
Jeff. Here's my deal. I gotta touch base on it. I would never say.
We're
hey,
talking about Wii U here, right? The
No,
one you
Wii.
sent.
Wii.
Oh,
Wii.
Wii.
Yeah.
Okay.
Return to Dreamland. It was a late Wii game. It's a 4-player co-op that works well, so me and my 2 kids could play it together. Here's my thing to you, Jeff, is that, like, I would never play that without my kids. But
Yeah.
if you have a kid of the right age, it's a high quality game. Like the
Oh.
other games that are aimed at kids of that age are garbage. The ones that aren't Nintendo the licensed movie games and whatnot, they're terrible. And at least the Nintendo ones, it's like the mechanics are on point when you're playing them because they're using the same engines that they use for all their other stuff. So like I can kind of like feel good as a father that I'm not letting them just play whatever garbage they want, that they're playing the good shit.
Yeah, he's playing, and he was loving it. He was a little mad because I played Kirby because we had a battle. Who was player 1? And I said I'm always player 1. And and I kind of felt proud because I didn't even teach him that, and he's already getting that gamer mentality. I want the first controller. No,
Right.
I want the first controller.
I
So
don't let my kids win. My wife gets mad at me about that, but there's going to come a day when they start winning, and I will never win a game against them again for the rest of my life. So until that happens, I'm not easy.
Yeah, I never take it easy on the nieces or nephews. You're going down.
You're going down.
Bring that shit.
So played Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yeah.
We will talk about that later.
We're going to talk about that.
You
Spoiler
sure you
topic of
played
the
it?
show.
I played some Neverwinter and was digging that. Killed a dragon. We did a 3-man. Yeah, we did a 3-man dungeon where I actually had to heal for the first time, which was kind of interesting.
That's right.
So
the dungeons are pretty tight. I gotta say, they're a lot bigger than I expected. The environments were more varied. It was cool.
Well, when you say you killed a dragon, did you just encounter one in the wild, or was it a quest, or what?
It was a quest, a
Did you have to
repeatable
do
quest.
it with a group?
Yeah, you just go there, and there's a bunch of people just hanging out, and you see the respawn timer count down.
Oh, okay.
As soon as it ticks to 0, everyone just comes out of the woodwork, and you attack this dragon.
Nice.
Wow.
It was pretty cool. It was a pretty epic battle. But
What kind of what color was he?
it was a green dragon.
Cool.
What's
So-
their breath weapon?
It was ice. Kind of
Blue's
reminded me
ice?
of.
No.
Yeah, it
blue's
was
ice.
weird.
That's weird.
Yeah, but it had like an ice weapon, so you would think acid because it was a green dragon.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the case, but I was just knowing to stay away from that red line across the.
Sure.
I just sat back and lobbed shit at it, but yeah, that's about it.
Oh, and
Cool.
what happened tonight? The football game.
We'll just move on. So
After
Nate's
last week's Skulls Fest. Yeah, that's funny.
that wasn't a business
Skull,
game.
LOL.
That was a bad game, dude. It was 38-7. That was an ass whooping.
All right, enough sports talk. Go to the Discord channel. The sports nerds one in there. So, my week, beat a couple games, and then started playing. I'll get to those in a minute. Then started playing Shovel Knight: Plague of Shadows.
Oh,
Which-
wow.
Love
Fantastic.
it, love it, love it. I get like at this point, those are the only type of games that me and Corey don't see eye to eye on. That I've realized at this point that I got to stop suggesting
I
them
downloaded
to
it
him.
again.
I like Shovel Knight.
I fucking love it. In Plague of Shadows, how they take the exact same levels from Shovel Knight and change them to mechanics that are completely different. It's like mind-blowingly awesome that they did that. I love it. The story's really great. It's really great. I can't. I'm Shovel Knight fan through and through. So then I beat 2 games. The first one was an absolute disappointment. The second one absolutely blew me away. So
Oh, yeah.
the disappointment is a game called Inside that I have been hearing for years.
Really?
Yeah, from the
Disappointing.
makers of Limbo. When
Yeah.
It got to where, so full disclosure, I don't like puzzle video games. I think I've just realized that at this point. Like, as a gamer, I'm like a
Me neither.
completionist, and I want to play through to the beginning and the end. And when I get stuck in a puzzle, I don't enjoy that. Like, some people really enjoy that, figuring out a puzzle or whatnot. To me, it's like I'm just frustrated by that. And
Right.
about
Yeah.
halfway through Inside, I had to go to YouTube for almost every single puzzle, or each one would take me an hour, right? And it's like I don't want to spend 20 hours on this game.
Right.
And but it got to a point where I was about to drop it, and then I looked at when you save, it kind of shows you a progression bar where you're at, and I was like 3/4 of the way through the game, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna power through this. When I got to the end, that shit was stupid. I do not know why people like that game so much. I did go out, just for you inside people who like that game. I went out and I Googled a bunch of theories and whatnot, so I know it's kind of deep for what it is. Not cool enough. I just did not have a good time. And then I started playing Doki Doki Literature Club, and it's one of the greatest games of all time. I
Amazing.
feel like.
One of the
Amazing
greatest.
game.
So we'll talk about that a
Fucking
little bit
awesome.
later.
It's not even really a game.
Right, it's not a game, right? So
And it's free.
then
It's free.
my youngest for Christmas got a Magic the Gathering starter set, and me and him been playing some Magic again.
Oh, jealous.
I love it. I forgot how much I like Magic. It's really fun. So I'll
It
leave that at
is.
that. Anime night, we're still doing that. I watched. I heard a couple things on podcasts about Black Mirror, which I did not like the first season of Black Mirror, and a bunch of people talked about a particular episode. It's called San Junipero that won a bunch
Yeah.
of awards and whatnot. Watch that.
From the first season?
No, it's
No,
from
season 3.
Yeah,
You didn't like that episode?
I'm just not a fan of Black Mirror. I
What
guess.
one was it about?
I like that episode.
I can't really say what it was about without spoiling it. I can't.
Well,
I think
yeah.
I saw all of those.
It's a virtual
I don't know.
reality world for old people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought that one was pretty good.
It was
Good.
pretty good, but that was it. That's what I feel like.
I
all
wasn't
those
blown
are.
away by it or
I
anything.
feel like all
yeah.
Black Mirror episodes are pretty good, to be honest. The Defenders, I got one more to go. God, that show's terrible. Fear the Walking Dead is still pretty good. And then me and Amy started yesterday watching, she Googled it and found it. There's another Netflix original show. It's called Wormwood. It's a documentary that has like real actors mixed into it. And it's about a government deal that went bad around the MK Ultra LSD days, and it's like the CIA and this whole cover-up thing, and really, really good. and they throw in like trippy effects into the production of it and whatnot. So I
Wow.
can't suggest it enough. It's like a documentary, like I say. It's split up into 6 episodes. So, and they're all about 40 minutes long. I definitely would recommend it to everybody from the 2 episodes in, anyways. It's called Wormwood. So look for that one. That was my week.
Sounds boring.
Corey.
My week. Okay. I beat some games too. I kind of did a little cleanup on my PlayStation library of short games that I had started and not beat. So I beat 4 games. I beat, first I beat Battlefront. I hadn't started that, but it was just a short game altogether. So, beat that and the Resurrection, the
What'd you
final
think?
3 chapters. It was,
That's what I felt like too. Look, like I give it like a 6.
yeah, and I don't
6
really
cigarettes.
No, the cigarette quota is different.
Like,
12 cigarettes.
yeah, I give it like a 6 too. I mean, it was, it was good enough that I wanted to finish it. Like I wasn't like, this sucks so bad I don't want to play it, but it
Has
just
a couple
wasn't.
cool
It
moments.
wasn't. Yeah, it has a couple
Tie
cool
into the
moments in
movies
it,
and stuff.
and it is Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, so that was cool, and but I just don't really. I don't know. I don't really like the combat in it. Like, it doesn't feel like it has a great cover system or anything, and like, it just feels kind of, I don't know, you get killed pretty easy, but it doesn't seem like it's because you're bad at it. It's like, I don't know.
The guns
it
don't
just,
feel weighty
like,
enough to me.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
it's way too much debris, and when you're flying the ships, just crashing into shit, pissing me off.
Beautiful.
But yeah, but it looked really great, and I
And
mean,
it's Star Wars.
the story was decent, yeah, and the Last Jedi stuff was kind of cool.
When you were in a space combat, did you feel it was like you're flying through molasses, so it felt really slow, and then you couldn't dodge the debris fast enough?
Yeah,
Question for the week.
kind of, or I'd like go to like turn around and there'd just be a piece of debris there and just blow up. You're like, well, fuck. Like, I don't know. And then it wouldn't just respawn your ship where you exploded. It restarts the whole fucking encounter.
Yeah.
So that's it's kind of frustrating, and I was alright. But then I beat Wolfenstein: The New Order, the first Wolfenstein.
Great game.
Yeah.
Man, that game is
was
great, isn't it?
I always forget it's Bethesda.
Yeah. Well, they
Machine Games.
Games. They just put their name on it or whatever.
Oh,
They
okay.
produce it, right? So they're the money behind it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that was really great. I love the crew. I love killing Nazis. It's just really cool game, really cool, environments, and then I mean just the combat's great, and the mix between having stealth and just run and gun and everything about it.
I like
was,
the
really
kind of steampunk pseudo future stuff is cool.
But
like it's just, to me, like I've said it a bunch of times, it's that you put a character named BJ Blazkowicz in a shooter, and that's like the most laughably ridiculous thing that you've ever heard of. And
Right.
they took that and they could have very easily said, okay, we need to write this out and make it more serious. No, they took BJ Blazkowicz and made him awesome. They made him so cool, and they surrounded him by a cast of characters that was so cool. You cared about the woman that you were in love with. You cared about your friends. Like, they all had, like, everybody had, like, disabilities and whatnot, and never once would anybody mention the disability. Like, they treated everything perfect, I thought. It was so cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, really good. I'm glad I picked that back up. So yeah, now I'm gonna get the second one next time it goes on sale. And then what did I beat Akiba's Trip.
What's that?
Strip.
It's not good. No, Akiba's Trip. It's the actual name.
It's a fighting game where
it's
you
kind
rip
of a
off
play
people's
on
clothes
words
to give them powers, Dirk.
My God.
It's been made into an
What
anime.
console?
It's on PS4. It's also on PS3 and Vita. But it's like an anime game basically, but not really. And you run around and tear people's clothes off because the sunlight kills them, and then you hit on anime girls in between.
Love that
ripping
shit.
people's clothes
You
off.
love it.
but it sucked, and I guess I won't spoil it. But I mean, the ending sucked. Like when I finally got with the chick that I was going for, I was like, "What the? That was lame as fuck." Like it was just not very good. But it's like an 8-hour game, and I was like halfway through it when I picked it back up, and so I just finished it out.
Move to Tokyo.
Yeah.
I mean, let's do it.
We should go there. That should be a GCNC business.
That would be
trip.
awesome. I would love to.
Me too.
And then last night I finally picked it back up. Kind of changed my mind on it for Nate. Beat Hellblade.
That's
I saw
awesome
you
too,
playing
isn't
that.
it?
Yeah, it is
saw
awesome.
you
Yeah,
playing
really, really good. Yeah, it's great. It's really, really great. I mean, it's just that game's just it's intense. Like, and yeah, I mean, just I just really liked. I mean, basically. It obviously looks amazing. Senua looks really awesome. Some of the stuff looking for runes and having to look at things from certain angles to build them and stuff is kind of boring. But once I got the combat down a little bit better, that was good. And then just all the different areas that you go to, I don't want to spoil it really, but the things you do are, like the probably one of the craziest parts in it. This is the one that me and Nate talked about last night. There's not even any combat in it, but I was freaking out like the whole time.
We had kind of said like when we both first started playing the game how they had the voices in her head all the time, and how we said that it's kind of cheesy representation of mental health problems. But there's some spots later in the game, that one that you're talking about there in particular, that are really wow moments. Like what they pulled off is like unlike any movies that I've seen, books that I've read, anything. You know what I mean? A couple of those.
Right.
Really cool.
Yeah. But awesome. Yeah. I unlike you, I wasn't really too into the runestones that tell the Norse mythology or whatever. Like
I was more at the beginning. They didn't.
I really didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like they're talking about Thor and Loki and stuff, and it really didn't have anything to do with the game. Right. Like, but all the different, the final boss is really awesome. Just really good. Yeah, I definitely liked it. So
I'm so happy that you did that.
Yep. Did it. Oh, and I passed Nate in trophies on PS4.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh man, I've been lately. I knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Finally happened.
Finally.
You gotta get Corey a girlfriend now, so
Yeah.
he doesn't have as much time to play
slowing
games.
back down. You're right.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I do.
Nope.
So, next question is gonna be Pimp Out Corey, 1-800-PIMP-COREY.
It's never going to
ladies
pass
out
any
there are
time.
looking for a man. This guy here, look at him. He's attractive. He's young. He's
Preferably
rich.
a girl named Aramilla. If you're out there.
Sarah Milda.
All right.
And then, so games, I really didn't read any comic books, mainly play video games and then watched a good amount of anime. I finished Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, which was
How many seasons?
awesome. It's just one season. It's 13 episodes. And it might be my
watch
favorite
it
anime
tonight.
of all time. It's just a great anime.
Yeah.
It's just funny. It's lighthearted. You just grow to love the characters. And it's just really great. The other one I got really into this week is Devilman Crybaby, which is on Netflix.
Yes.
And that is really awesome too. I
It
think
is?
like I can't I don't know if you guys would like Miss Kobayashi because I don't know if it's like if you're more into like it's not like an action anime or anything,
Right.
but Devilman is fucking wild. Like I mean, it's the first episode is like mind blowing. Like it's really good, really adult. Miss Kobayashi you could probably watch with your kids. It does have some kind of boob stuff going on, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah, we're paying.
But Devilman, no. Like it's really. I mean, there's crazy violent, crazy like nudity and stuff, but not like hot anime nudity, like trippy, like
Yeah.
I don't even want to spoil it, but like
Don't spoil
vaginas
it.
eating.
I might watch that tonight because it's on Netflix.
It's
Is it on
wild.
Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
That one is, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely would recommend that. It's wild. It's great.
Cool.
And then other than that, I watched the first 2 episodes of Violet Evergarden, which everybody's been talking about, which is all right. It has really good art, and Citrus, which is it's about lesbians. Yeah, it was all good. So that was my week.
My week, let's see. I played a lot of Guacamelee. I think I'm
Really?
close to being done. Probably about 2/3 of the way in. It's fantastic. Vanessa actually watches me when I play because she likes the music and the story. So I played a bunch of Neverwinter. I think I'm level 19 with Milby the Dart.
Yeah.
Nice.
Catch up, Derek. 27.
I know. I'm trying.
Can I interrupt for just a
yeah.
quick second? We've been talking about it the past few weeks. Neverwinter's a lot of fun. We have what do they call them? Clans?
Guild.
Guild.
We have a guild
Midnight
on there
Mashers.
called the Midnight Mashers. Anybody who wants to play the game is free on PS4. Download it. Join the Mashers. Midnight Mashers. Look us up.
You can meet.
Hit us up on Twitter or something like that if you want to join it. It's free and it's fun.
You can meet the famous Milby.
Definitely. It was a good time.
I'm gonna totally make Milby in real life also because I'm so inspired by him. Comics. I just read Saga, finished Volume 8.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh man, Jesus.
Is that-
What's that? Yeah, it's caught up. I think I'm completely caught up because the February is the next time the next issue comes out.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
I got just a quick note about Saga. I think, we talk about BKV, but that series would not be what it is also without Fiona Staples' art.
Absolutely. I agree.
And
Oh yeah.
there are scenes in there. First of all, it's steadily just the quality is unreal. I mean, every single panel is a picture that you can take out and put as a frame in your house.
Yep.
But on top of that, she has a way of carrying the poignancy of the moment and conveying it to the reader, where you feel it even harder than it just being read out to you.
Right.
Seeing some of those images it'll either break your heart or give you warm, fuzzy feelings inside or whatever.
I know.
She just,
That's
has a way of doing it.
That's the stuff, Dirk, that I get so frustrated with when people who are into books don't take comic books seriously and
Right?
and get condescending about it. I just
manga
you
is
can't
literature.
explain that stuff to people, how good it
And
can be. Yeah.
Look, I mean, I'm sure Saga would be fantastic as a novel, but come on. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right. You're right.
it's also about those visuals. I also finished up to issue 3, I think, of Silver Surfer. That's actually grown on me a lot. It's pretty fantastic. It started out, I was like, well, it's kind of offbeat, quirky. It's sort of like Deadpool in a lot of ways. It's like sort of humorous, but it gets really good. It's like really, and it's very different for a Marvel book. And then Doki Doki smashed my head in, caved my head in. And
Okay, we'll talk about Doki. I can't wait to talk about Doki.
I love Doki Doki.
it's very visceral reactions to it, and a whole spectrum of.
Sounds awesome.
Oh, and then last but not least, had Show and Tell.
Yeah.
Tomb
Moving
of
things
Beasts
sideways.
from
Yeah.
Cobbled Press.
Dude, 400 pages of monsters.
Yeah, 400 pages. It's normally $50. The best way to get D&D books is on
Amazon.
eBay.
Oh,
Oh,
eBay.
yeah. That's
Because
cool.
you can
For
get
sure.
slightly used copies,
Right.
or people that don't like the books will resell them, and you can get them freaking. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this book, and I
Right.
got it for
Yeah.
$20.
I thought you got a brand new, honestly.
It's cool.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's cool.
No, and I mean it's almost double the. I think the
Player's
monster.
Handbook.
I mean it's huge.
Yeah. It's awesome.
So if we ever get out of Curse of Strahd and I can use other monsters, then I'll
Going
use
to
them.
town. Nice.
That's my week.
All right.
Oh, bonus with the controller for Super Nintendo, for the SNES. You can plug this into the Wii U,
Yeah.
and use an SNES controller on games.
Oh
Nice.
wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm gonna do that for sure.
Not the
That's fucking
Switch,
awesome.
Yeah. Not the
No.
Switch.
The Switch has
Gotta get a
cards.
cardboard box for that.
Yeah.
All right. All right. That's our
You gotta-
week.
News of the week. So,
News of the week.
got your news of the week here. Number 5. Marvel Comics is top-selling publisher of 2017. So,
Yeah.
Kind of surprising to
Yeah.
me.
not really
With all the
big.
hype around the.
I think that with the success of the MCU and all the Marvel
Right.
movies, that's really boosting Marvel comic sales, and non-comic book readers, after watching like Thor Ragnarok and all these great movies, they are going out to a comic book store and buying Marvel.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
They're
They're getting better
definitely
too.
a
I
solid-
mean, they're taking chances with a few people. We get books like Thor and Black Bolt and Jessica Jones. Marvel, if you're listening, just keep rolling down that road. I mean,
Yeah, from the 2-in-1 and Runaways, and I've been reading
Yeah.
a ton of Marvel lately that I really
Yeah.
like. It's not, and they said they weren't going to do any crossovers for a couple more years. I mean, some books suck, but they have 1 million books is the thing. Like, I mean, you can't read every one and expect them all to be great, but they do have some really great books. So,
yeah, right.
I mean, I don't know. I'll still like Marvel. I mean,
Rats.
Secret Empire
Yeah.
sucked.
It just ended bad. That's really what happened.
No,
yeah.
it's That's
That last
ha-
issue.
The last half of it was bad. That's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The books that they rush out and the changing of artists and they do a lot of stuff wrong, but they still do a lot of stuff right. I mean, they got some great books, so still like Marvel.
Got some people coming
Deadpool
back.
is great.
Deadpool is great.
So, yeah.
What was on?
Number 4. I saw this last minute, so I have no idea what it's even about. But Amy Hennig's Polygon interview. Take it away.
So Amy Hennig was interviewed by Polygon. Amy Hennig, creator of Uncharted, right? Left Naughty Dog, went to EA to make a Star Wars game that got canceled. This is the first time that she ever publicly kind of came out about it afterwards. And really interesting, she kind of towed the industry line where she basically said people don't buy single-player games anymore. Like there was a quote in the interview where she said that people don't buy single-player games because they can watch them on YouTube. And I can't disagree more. Like, if that was the case, Nintendo wouldn't be making Zelda. CD Projekt Red wouldn't be making Cyberpunk right now.
Right.
I just feel like that situation that she was in was so bad that it seems like it rubbed her the wrong way on the industry in general, which is a shame.
The Witcher wouldn't be as massively successful as it was if it was, that's the proof is in the pudding.
Right.
I mean,
Persona, like we had a bunch of really great single player games this year.
yeah.
That, I feel like just tell the opposite tale of that. So
Doki Doki.
It's a
It's a great
shame.
single
Doki
player
Doki.
game.
There you go.
Doki.
Yeah. I mean, single player games are awesome. I mean, yeah, when you talk to people who aren't like don't play games every day or whatever, they're playing multiplayer and stuff. I mean, you know, I guess most casual gamers would play multiplayer games, but anybody who really likes video games probably likes single player games more. Like,
Yeah.
You know, I do.
I mean, you're still gonna sell 1 million copies. Like, you might not make as much as COD, but it's, you know, you make something different, and you're still gonna sell a shitload for the people who really like video games. Like,
the beauty of single player games is that when you play multiplayer, you're at the pace of the game. You're at the pace of all the other players.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of hardcore gamers or medium core gamers want to take those experiences and just really explore the game itself and find all the stuff
world.
And see all the beauty of it, you know, instead of, you know, I take WoW for example. When you play raids in WoW or run dungeons in WoW, it is a non-stop just go through battle, face roll, and then you get to cutscenes, and everyone's like, skip the cutscenes, and it's like, no, I want to learn, you know, they put a lot of work into these games. I want to watch the cutscenes.
Yeah.
So
that was poetic, Jeff. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I was from Doki Doki, all the poetry.
Yeah.
I wish I would have seen some of that poetry.
I know. It was weird.
Number 3. Castlevania's returning to Netflix with 8 episodes this summer.
I gotta watch that
Nice.
now. Binge watch
So
that.
good.
Yeah.
I
What
love
was the first one? 4?
4
Five?
episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the good news for you, Jeff. They're 4 episodes. They're 15 to 20 minutes each.
Oh,
So
for
hilarious.
For real?
yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It was kind of. It almost seems like a test or whatnot, or like
Yeah.
a prologue to the real story.
Okay.
I'm currently watching them right now. I'm through 3 again with my son when we do our anime night, and I like it even more the second time. They are a little kind of cheesy, tongue in cheek. And you
love
got to
that
get
stuff.
used to that. You know what I mean? That rubbed me the wrong way initially, and but I love it now. I really like it.
I think it's because I know it's Warren Ellis, so I know that he's not really meaning. Like, it's,
sure.
that's really just the way he writes.
Yeah. So, nice. Number 2. Big news of the week.
Fake news. I believe.
Nintendo Labo.
I want to
So-
call it Lamo.
So what do we think?
It's-
You say lame-o, so you're.
I think
you're
it's
against it, huh?
more divisive than politics right now. Is that
I mean,
thing?
I think it's not aimed at me. Like, there's no way in hell I'm gonna build
It's
a
for kids.
cardboard. I'm not gonna build a cardboard fishing pole and be sitting in my room.
No.
Like,
No.
and I'm not gonna build a robot and move it around my fucking bedroom floor. And like, I don't give a fuck about that. Like, there's no way in hell I would get that, and it seems stupid as hell to me. But,
What's the house
but
do?
to a little kid that likes to build stuff, like with Lincoln Logs or something, it's cool. It's interactive with your Switch. Like, it's
Price is
it's
crazy.
you know, it's for them. It's cool. Like, as a building thing mixed with video games. It's a
much
cool
robotic,
idea.
Yeah.
Like,
Robotic.
but I don't give a shit about it. But,
I still don't understand what the house is for.
I know.
I can
Nobody
see the
does, other
fishing
than
pole.
coloring.
It's. I mean, and that's for creative kids. And my kid doesn't want to color. He wants to play video games. He wants to play Pokemon and Kirby, and he doesn't want to sit there and build stuff and then play with that. He has enough freaking toys that he needs to play with, and he doesn't even do that.
Yeah. Dirk, what do you think?
No, the thing is, I don't have any dog in this hunt. I
Pretend
mean, I
like
just-
you had
No,
all of
but-
it. Pretend like you had a Switch
But
and you could go buy that right now. Like,
it's-
would you? Do you
Very
like it?
no. I would not get that if I got a Switch.
Okay.
Absolutely not. But then again, I don't think it's for me. I mean, I think it's for
Right.
just like, 7 years old and younger.
Yeah.
I don't. If I didn't have a kid, there's absolutely no reason for me to get that.
yeah, even the 10, 12-year-olds
That's
that
still
wanna
too
play
old.
Call of Duty.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
too old,
young
but,
kid
yeah,
for like super young kids.
right.
I think.
So I feel like, if I'm honest with you, Nintendo, the worst thing that could have ever happened to Nintendo was that one holiday season when the Wii was the hottest thing on earth. When everybody came out and wanted to play Wii Sports. And until the Wii, Nintendo made video games that you played with controllers. Right? When the Wii came out, in that one Christmas, the Wii went crazy for all the grandmas that wanted to bowl in their retirement centers. And then it had the worst attach rate in the history of video games for people who bought games for it, because everybody bought the Wii and Wii Sports and then never plugged it in again once they got sick of it after playing it for a month that holiday season. Ever since then, that like blew up, and Nintendo like hasn't realized that they were just happened to be the Care Bear of that Christmas, right? And they think that that's what people want, and they went hard on it with the Wii U. It was a failure. The Switch does have a gimmick, but the gimmick is aimed at gamers, not at grandmas, right? And that's why the Switch has been successful. It has a cool gimmick that we all think is cool, and then they made two of the greatest games of all time at the beginning of it, right? Like this stuff, I just feel like the market is so small for it, and it's so expensive for $80 for cardboard.
That's
like,
the problem.
Yeah, if these
That
came
price
out,
point.
if they were $5 each, if you could go to the store and you bought a piece of cardboard for $5 and then went home and downloaded the thing and played with it, okay.
Yeah, that would make way more sense.
Right, but $80 for a piece of cardboard that my kids break metal toys within hours. They do. This cardboard stands no chance, you know. But I asked both of my kids about it. Made him watch the video. My 12-year-old, like you say, Corey, he's begging me to play Call of Duty, and this does not look cool to him at all. My 9-year-old is the super creative Lego guy, and when he watched the video, he thought it was really cool. I gotta say, his reaction to it was, "I want that," you know, immediately. So that's it, right? I just feel like I'm upset that Nintendo's spending R&D money on this kind of stuff instead of making the next awesome Zelda or making Metroid, whatever. You know what I mean? You think R&D on this kind of thing costs millions of dollars, and I wish that they would just keep. The Switch is a success because it was aimed at gamers, and they need to keep aiming at gamers.
Wait, I have a counterpoint though. Okay. I mean, with Zelda and Metroid, those are farmed in, right? They don't even need to really. I mean, that's an automatic yes from the market.
But that doesn't stop them from making it the greatest game of all time, right? Like,
right. But if it's something like, if this is just a side feature. I mean, it's not like the focal point of their console. It's just something to add on, you know. But
plus, those Joy-Cons are $80, and I'm not going to give them to my 6-year-old and say, "Go play."
Shove
with
them in a cardboard box.
But
the thing is my son. You can give him a cardboard box. I can give my son. He's 5. I give him a cardboard box, and he thinks it's the greatest thing in the world.
Right.
So I mean, what is? I'm not going to say it, but.
You could always just make your own at home, right? Get cardboard, and it's a lot, you know.
You could.
Yeah, they say you can get the templates for them.
And print them out. But who has a cardboard printer? Because if you try and shove cardboard into a printer, that's not going to work.
Right.
Well, you could print out, like, something to trace them onto cardboard.
Yeah, trace it on there, whatever.
But, yeah.
$80 is ridiculous, though. They're not. I mean, that is what I balk at that project. It's like, that is insane.
Yeah, it seems like the cool thing about cardboard is that you literally could make them $3, and then everybody, like, yes, I know that the program itself costs money to make, but if you sell 10 million of them at $3 versus 500,000 of them at 80.
Yeah, or sell the game for $20, you know.
Yeah, it seems like the cardboard thing is cool because it enables you to make it cheap, and they didn't make it cheap.
They didn't make it cheap. It's like, and they asked Wes Anderson what he would do with the price.
The robot bodysuit costs $80, and then the other kit has like the house, the piano, and the bug, and that's $70.
What about the fishing pole?
Yeah, that comes with the house set.
Oh,
Ah,
Yep.
nice. All right.
like a Wes Anderson Nintendo.
Number 1. Venom movie. Turns out may actually have Spider-Man in it.
Wow.
Who woke up?
So,
That's
Who
pretty
woke up
awesome.
Yeah.
and said that
They
was
want
the
their-
stupidest idea on earth to
Yeah.
not have Spider-Man in a Venom movie.
They want their
Right.
chest piece back. Yeah, no,
It's because
See, I
Fox.
figured it was just because Disney wouldn't let them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if they were able to the whole time, it's crazy that was even.
maybe they
an
negotiated
option.
it. I don't know. Yeah.
But
But,
that's great as long as it's true. And it sounds like it's still kind of up in the air. I don't think
I
it's
just
like,
don't. Yeah,
officially confirmed, but
I don't know that much about this movie. I don't know what direction this movie is going to go in.
it's supposed to be R-rated horror.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, it's Venom.
it's just weird to
so-
have him in it, like Tom Holland in an R-rated horror film with Spider-Man. I don't.
Yeah,
Could
it needs
be fine, but-
it needs to, if he's gonna be in it, it needs to go way farther than like Batman was in Suicide Squad. Like he needs to be
Yeah.
a real part of it, or
Yeah.
don't bother.
For
Right?
sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I bet it's just going to be a glimpse or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll show him swinging across the skyline.
Yeah.
So
Or just
Yeah.
a spider.
that's it.
Oh, Corey did it this time.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This segment,
What's up?
we've got Mark joining
What's
us. Mark is the creator of the Elthos role-playing game and framework, and the Mythos machine. Is that correct?
It's it's called the Mythos machine.
Okay. All right. So, Mark, why don't you kind of explain to our group? You know, we have varying levels of role-playing experience. Me and Corey are the new ones here, and Dirk and Jeff are old veterans and whatnot. And so, yeah, kind of just explain to our audience what your stuff is, and you know, as if they've never heard of you or whatnot.
Okay, so you guys are familiar with D&D, right? Dungeons and Dragons, you've heard of it. So D&D, role-playing games in general, is somebody creates a fantasy or science fiction or Wild West, some kind of world, and then their friends get together and play characters in that world. So the author of the world is kind of like a narrator and describes like, oh, you see, you know, a castle in the distance on the hill and there's murky towers and, you know, whatever, and describes the scenes to the players. And he then will say, what do your characters do? And you guys play characters in that world. And based on certain rules, your characters have capabilities and they have percent chance of succeeding at various kinds of skills and so on. And so you roll dice during the game to see if the attempts that you make are successful. And that's what role-playing games are generally. And then mine is one among a myriad of role-playing games, but mine's kind of better defined as a role-playing game framework. So what I do is I have a set of structural rules that handle basic functions for role-playing games, and then introduce to each world creator the ability to create their own rules that kind of sit on top of that framework. So, for example, skills. Like you might have a world where it's very science fiction, and so the skills list that you want is all technical about hacking and cyberpunk and so on, whereas somebody else might have a world that's Wild West, and so the skills involved would be, you know, gun shooting and lasso, you know, use and so on. So it allows every games master to create their own worlds. And that's what the focus is for the Elthos RPG. And then what I did on top of that was I created a website that is a utility that runs those rules for the games masters to allow them to host their world online and create all the skills and all of the things within the world, the armors and the weapons, and it does all the math. So in the end, you invite your players over and you send them a link to the site. They get online, they find you as the games master, they pick the world that you want them to play in, and then they can generate their characters online in your world according to your world's rules.
Nice. That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Myself, again, I'm very new to role playing. Always was interested my entire life, and just finally found the awesome group of people that I've met to actually go through this with me. But we met in one time talking back and forth with you over email. You kind of brought up that it's not a virtual tabletop.
Right.
We play over Skype where none of us are in the same room, and we do use Roll20 to play our game right now. Like, I guess go into that a little bit more. Like, would you use it in conjunction with a virtual tabletop in our situation?
Exactly. So like I've done this before, but if I want to play in Roll20, so I have the Mythos machine has everybody's characters in it that they've generated and picked their skills and all this stuff, and it's done all the number crunching. So I have all the character sheets, and I can look at them online, and they can look at their character sheets online. And so when we're on Roll20 or on Skype, you'd have two windows. You'd have one for your Elthos character, and then you'd have your Roll20 window with the map on it moving your tokens around. And in the long run, I think what I'd like to do is they have a way to allow people to create inside of Roll20 character sheets, and mine would be Elthos character sheets. And if I can get a connection between Roll20 and my Elthos system, then I could have it so that you press a button in Roll20 and it spits back the final results of the combat back to the Mythos machine and updates the database on my end.
Nice automatically, right. Awesome.
Yeah, right. That would be very cool. I haven't quite worked out whether or not that's totally possible, but I think so. So, and I'm also looking at doing the same thing with Tabletop Simulator. I don't know if you guys are familiar with
on Steam.
Yeah, it's like Roll20, but it's 3D. So you could actually put on VR goggles and walk through the dungeon.
Wow,
playing.
did not know about that.
Yeah, Tabletop Simulator is in Steam.
Cool.
And I've created some pretty cool stuff in there. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So and the Mythos machine would be something you use either as an adjunct to a virtual tabletop, or most of the time the way I use it is I just have my friends come around, to my house and we play here. But we have all the character sheets, so I can just print them out. But they're all online, so when they go home, they can update their character sheets and say, "Oh, my character did this, in this adventure, and he was thinking about that. Oh, yeah, I want to remember about that ring." And they can take their notes in their character sheet.
Cool.
Online.
Gotcha.
Sweet. Okay.
Wow.
Hold on. Yeah, I guess I was just wondering, how long have you been working on Elthos and the Mythos machine? And how did you go about creating these rules? Did you start from scratch, or
Well,
what's
okay. I started my world actually on my birthday in 1978 when I was 15.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So now, and at the time, D&D had pretty much more or less just come out. I mean, this is before AD&D. So all we had to work with was the original 3, booklets, Men and Magic, Monsters and Treasure. And what the Games Masters in my town did was we had a kind of rule. Everybody was anti-Gygax. So it was like an anti-Gygax society. But we all said, you can use these core rules to make your own rules. So we all branched off from there. So
Sure.
I kind of have my roots in D&D. So my system is kind of traditional style in the sense that I have the basic tropes, hit points and classes and races, like that. But for whatever reason, and I wasn't thinking about it in advance or anything, but I wanted my system to be modular. So I had this one chart that would solve all conflict resolution. And so I have this conflict resolution matrix that's called the General Resolution Matrix. And that piece of this is all from 1978. And what it does is it just pits skill level versus difficulty level. So if you think about it, almost everything is skill level versus difficulty level, anything you try to do. So if it's basket weaving, it's, are you doing the Flying Dragon Super Bunny basket, which is like level 6 difficulty? And what's your level? And then you get the matrix and you find what the chance of success is. So that core allowed me to just keep adding new skills on, and new things like new spells, new skills, new races, and so on. So I wanted a modular system that wouldn't have me required to revamp my world every time a new rules book or whatever came out.
Yeah.
That was the idea back in 1978. And fortunately, it turned out that it made it very efficient for me to program this. And so in 1994, I said to a couple of my friends, hey, games are going to be big in the future. We should get into computers. We should, do game design stuff. And they agreed. And so I started working on this back in 1994. So I kind of put out my blueprint in 94. And then I've been kind of tooling with it ever since. I did a Windows app based on this concept, and I did that until 2000. Then I put it on the shelf because Windows is too difficult to deploy and maintain, and I was like, never mind, I'm going to the web. And so I made a web interface, and I've been working on that ever since.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
been cool. It's been a great project. I mean, as a hobby project, something that I just do for fun. This has been super educational and super awesome, and I built my programming career. So I'm a professional programmer analyst, but only because of D&D in my games. Because I wanted to program that thing. So I said, how do I program that? I got to learn databasing. I got to learn programming. And so I've made my career on that, and now I have this product and service as a result.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been
So,
cool.
I guess my question is, what tips do you have for GMs that are putting together their first world for an RPG? I've got a sort of literary thing that I've been doing, this world that I created that I've been working on for forever, but I've never tried to put it into game format. It's just strictly, short stories and stuff. But I've got most of the world mapped out, built, ready to go. So what should I address in the construct first and foremost, you think?
Well, okay, so let me just make sure I understand. Are you just talking about sort of general, advice to a fellow games master independent of system? Or are you saying, how would I use the Mythos machine to help me with this?
Yes.
Kind of a little...
I guess that's what it is. How would I take Mythos machine and incorporate this, make it a playable game?
Right. Okay. So what you would do is you would go to the Mythos machine, you'd create an account for yourself, you'd upgrade yourself to at least a basic GM, because I have 2 tiers, and there's basic and premium. But what you would do is you'd create a world based on what genre you're starting out with. So right now I only have 2 genres in my list, but we're going to be developing more genres to sort of start off with. And so you create your world based on a proto world. So the proto world would be like fantasy or Wild West or Bushido or whatever. And you kind of aim towards a proto world. And then you say, okay, so let's say it's fantasy. So you pick fantasy, and it gives you a subset, a small set of things that are fantasy things. And the whole point of the system is it's geared towards allowing you the creative freedom to build whatever you want. So I don't want to give you too much stuff. I just want to give you enough to give you some examples of, okay, so this is what, a Colt 45 is like. This is how much damage it does, and so on. And I give you kind of a handful of each sort of thing: weapon, armors, equipment, races, and so on, and they're all geared towards the genre. So then from there, what you do is you'd start creating a world. So you'd build the places. So you might start at a very high level. So you'd say, okay, I'm going to build a continent, and I'm going to call it America or whatever. And I've got some provinces, and then there's a tree view that you start building out. So you have at the highest
that's in
level,
there? That's
yeah,
in the software. Okay.
Yeah. And then what you do is you create your places, you describe them, you give them, and it's all text-oriented. So it's really for story writers, basically. Right. So you'd give your climate, your geology, or your geography, and so on. And there's a set of stuff that is really there as kind of placeholders for you as an author to make sure, hey, I didn't forget, I should really know about the climate here, and so on. And then what you do is you start creating your campaigns. And so those would be like, Save the World could be a campaign that covers your entire world. So you'd put it at the top level place, the name of your world, and it would be called Save the World, and that's your campaign. And then you could have other campaigns at lower levels. So you could say, okay, but in this particular city, there's a campaign because the mayor of the city is doing some nefarious stuff. So I have a whole campaign just around that. And so you'd put that campaign at that city level. And then under the campaigns, you'd create a bunch of adventures. So those adventures would be things like, if it's Save the World, it's like find the ancient artifact. That would be one adventure. And you kind of portion it out so that you now have a collection of places with campaigns that have adventures in them. And
That's really
that's
nice.
where you would start.
That's awesome.
That's
You just
crazy.
blew my mind.
It's a lot of fun. To tell you the truth, I use it quite frequently because I'll be driving around and I'll hear something on the radio or whatever, and or wherever I am, and I'll be like, oh, I got to get that in my world.
Right.
And it's really fun, actually, to build out my world this way because I know it's actually going to live there. And,
I think it would help me to organize what I have already because it's sort of like I've got certain things filled out, but I really just need a system to sort of gather it together and fill in, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely think you should give it a try, see what you make of it. And if you have questions, you can always get in touch. I'll help you to, kind of get organized and think about how to use it. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Sure.
I think you answered my question because my question was what inspired you to create your own game system? Because you said you started out playing, original D&D back in the early 70s, but what really inspired you to want to make your own system that was unique?
I had just finished reading The Sword of Shannara, and this was back
Terry
in,
Brooks. Terry Brooks.
1978. Yeah, Terry Brooks. And I remember putting it back in the school library, and I walked out of the library, and I ran into two of my friends, and they're in the cafeteria, and they were having an argument about this fantasy thing, and they were saying, and one of my friends says, I'll give you 10 hit points if you buy me a donut. And I'm looking at them like, okay, what are hit points and why does it cost a donut? And my friend is a really smart guy. He goes, you wouldn't understand. It's D&D. And I was hooked. So, and from there, as soon as I played the first game, I was like, I want a Games Master. And my friend's like, no, you can't. You have to apprentice for a year. It's true. So I apprenticed with him for like a month, and I was like, okay, I'm making my own world. Damn it. And, he said, okay, but in our society of Games Masters, you have to create your own rules. None of us will even talk to you if you use Gygaxian rules. We won't allow it. And we had a whole conversation about why, and there were very good reasons for it. It was rules lawyering had already started to become a thing, and we knew that the way to avoid that was to have your own rules. Also, we noticed that when we bought modules, which some of us did, but most of us were just doing our own thing, but the players knew the modules, so it kind of killed the surprise. When you had your own world, you could really surprise people.
Yeah.
And, and there were a number of advantages like that, and we just went with it.
That's cool. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool, Mark. I gotta say, you definitely, being the noob at this, you have definitely opened my eyes to some more kind of background things. And I'm apprenticing Dirk I lasted about a month too before I'm like, okay, screw it. I just got to go out and buy these books myself and start devouring this stuff. But so really, really cool conversation from my point of view for sure. Do you have anything else to share? Where can everybody find your all of this essentially?
Well, you can. Yeah, I mean, my site is elthos.com, so it's elthos.com. And right now, I'm actually in the process of migrating my final set of features, and so I'm really pointing people when they want to look at the Mythos machine to our beta site. Okay. But it's very clear when you go in, you click on the Mythos machine, and it brings up some dialog box that says, "Hey, go over to the beta site for now," and so you can experiment around with it. You can try stuff out, and I'm planning to actually release the final version of Phase 1 project on February 6th.
Cool.
Yeah, and that'll be my birthday, and that will actually be Elthos's 40th birthday.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so I'm super excited about it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, everybody. All that information will be in the description of the video. If you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, then go over to youtube.com/GCNC. Go to the description there, and we'll have all that info there as well. If you're driving in your car and you can't write this all down, as Mark spells it out. But yeah, thanks for joining us, Mark. Been great.
Yeah,
Hey,
awesome. Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks
you
a lot.
guys. Take
Oh
care.
yeah.
Thanks.
Dude.
Bye. All right. Well, we just want to say again, thanks to Mark from Elthos.com for taking time out of his night to chat with us about his game system. And it sounds pretty sweet. So we posted a community question last week-ish. What games are you looking forward to in 2018? Right off the bat, I would say it looks like Monster World Hunter drops Friday.
Right.
So
Monster
definitely be on
Hunter
board
World.
with that. Monster Hunter World. And then I'm looking forward to Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
What about the
Last of
Kirby
Us-
Star Allies?
No, you
You
just hush, adults are talking there.
Last of Us 2 will not come out in 2018.
No?
No, I would bet.
Oh.
I would bet every money in my bank account on it not coming out in 2018.
November.
They always push games back. They do
Yeah,
when it
I
comes
guess.
down to it, and Sony lets them go because they're the greatest game makers on earth, right?
For sure.
Mine would be, if for video games, definitely would be talking about Red Dead Redemption. If that
Oh, yeah.
one's coming out this year,
Yep.
that's the one I'm looking forward to the most. That's the only one in the horizon that I'm going to interrupt my kind of list of current backlog games on. And then I'd just say, I'm really looking forward to playing D&D with you guys.
It's true.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think
Corey?
about that.
What do you got?
Definitely Red Dead Redemption as well. For sure, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Monster Hunter World.
God of War.
God of War. Yeah, I just started playing 3. I'm ready. Definitely God of War. Bayonetta for Switch.
Detroit Become Human.
Detroit. What's that one with the zombies? You know what I'm talking about.
I don't think that's announced yet for this year either, though. I know what you're talking
No?
about. It's the Sony Ben game. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I thought that was this year.
I don't think they've announced any dates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure
Dirk,
there's more, but
What do you got?
Yeah. Red Dead's number 1. God of War. I kind of want to play that Dragon Ball Fighters game.
Oh yeah, everybody's talking about that.
Because it looks like the cartoon. Like,
Yep.
instead of it doing 3D, I think it's just a 2D cartoon. Detroit Become Human. I think that's about it. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man. Of course. Yeah.
I was going to say, too, after watching Corey play God of War 3, I've never played God of Wars. I missed the boat on that one. I'm looking forward to... I'll pick that up when it comes out, because what he was showing tonight on our Sunday night stream was pretty pimp.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just about Toe Jam and Earl.
Gosh,
Who
we're talking.
cares?
Who cares? Thank God you finally agree on me on that one.
I do. That's terrible. Toe Jam and Earl is terrible.
So speaking of, so now we're finished. We're talking about this community question. I'm going to read some responses from our vast audience on Twitter. Captain Emo, always thank you for the
Okay.
support.
No.
You rock. He's looking forward to Monster Hunter Worlds and BattleTech. BattleTech looks like the new sort of MechWarrior, and MechWarrior is pretty fun to play.
Yeah.
Pretty good
cool.
game. And then we threw it out on our Facebook group, and Adam, aka Lumberjack, also looking forward to God of War. Kevin, next Clash of Clans update.
Nice.
I saw
John-
that.
So
John,
joke.
yeah. John said Anthem.
I don't think it is a joke. I think Kevin plays clans.
Maybe. John said Anthem on the analog front, Time of Legends, Joan of Arc, Song of Ice and Fire minigames.
Is that XYZ? XL. What is he? Adam. What's Adam's last name?
No.
That.
No, this is John.
XYL.
Oh, John.
John, yeah.
Okay. The So board games. He's the inside on at Fantasy Flight. So
Anthem's the one that I'm looking forward to. I want to see more of it. But.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he worked for Fantasy Flight. Now I thought he was something. And
Maybe
then
I
Matt,
got the wrong Jan. I might have the wrong John.
John.
Jan.
John.
Jan.
Jan. No, Jan.
Tina.
She's just resting. Matt, looking forward to Nintendo Labo, or as we're gonna probably call it, Nintendo Lamo. And then Paul, old Polly, said possible new Fable game.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that just got announced recently, so Paul's
Wow.
on top of it. I do have the wrong John. This is the third John that I'm thinking of here. So,
Yeah.
thanks for stopping in there, John. Appreciate that.
Yep.
And Anthem,
Yeah.
I'm looking for Anthem, too. I doubt that Anthem will be out in 2018 either. I just think that'll get delayed out, but I hope it does. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
So speaking of our number 2 topic for News of the Week and someone's response to our this week's question, this brings up our next week's question. After our crazy, divisive conversation we had in Facebook group about the Nintendo Labo announcement, what are your thoughts on it? So hit us
it's
up comments
Labo.
below. Labo, Lamo.
I've heard both.
It's gotta be like a lab.
I've heard
Labo.
Labo
Yeah.
a million times, but I
Really?
agree with you. It should be. It's the lab, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Labo. So, you know what? We're going to post this out on Facebook. We're going to post this out on Twitter. Also, if you just want to answer, you can answer in the comments below or send us an email. That would be super awesome. Wow.
Games,
email.
Comics, and Culture, gmail.com. Hit it up. All right, with that, it takes us to our community spotlight. Thank you. This is the spot where we come out to all of those of you from YouTube who followed us this week, have your own YouTube channels. To the rest of our audience, please, please, please go to these people's channels, subscribe to them. These are good people, supported us. Let's support them back. So, this week, I checked out one of these called Taxter Games. Looks like they make a video game called The Midnight Show, and their channel is
really?
kind of full of things about that video game. So it's cool to check it out.
Nice. Yeah, I got gaming and console tech.
I have video game basement.
I grabbed 3. I have a Nazi 167, the Solaris X, all one word, and then Mark Maurer does a lot of music on his YouTube channel.
Nice, nice. So yeah, go to the description of our YouTube channel of the show there, and we'll have links for everybody. Go click on those, click the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Makes the world go round. Yep. So every week we do Name of the Week based on nothing else other than names. For me, that's the easy one. It's got to be the basement.
Yeah, that's mine.
Right? I can envision the video game basement in my head.
I was thinking video game basement.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unanimous. That's a platform.
Unanimous?
Congratulations, video game basement.
Is that the second unanimous in a
It's
week?
the second in a row. Yeah, second
Wow.
in a row. So thanks everybody for watching. We're going to go full spoilers on Doki Doki Literature Club, which if you have not played it, it's free, it's short, and it is fantastic. So please
awesome.
go out and play it. Come back and watch the rest of the show.
Yeah.
It's been Comically Gaming 87.
88.
Oh,
88.
88. We really appreciate all of you who watch the show and listen to the show every week. For updates with everything that we do, go to our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/GCandC.
And you can find us on Twitter at GCandC. And thank you to Fred Thomas for opening music and Xee Reiter for our awesome logo.
Thank you. Welcome to the Doki Doki Literature Club.
Son.
Full spoilers,
Wow.
spectacular.
Son.
Oh my God.
So pretty crazy, huh? Like
I don't even know where to start on that.
we all agree it's fantastic, right?
It's fantastic. Yep.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I'll just start by just saying, basically, to me, the biggest thing is that it's so impressive that the creator of this game made a game about a HAL-like AI and tied it into what appears to be an anime dating simulator, right? Like like how do you even? I'm just blows my mind that you sit back and think that idea up.
Yeah.
right?
And he hit it at the end, you know? Like, it took a while. I mean, it was short in terms of games that we play, but it was still lengthy, you know, a lot of dialogue before you got there.
A lot of dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, until you got to what's her name saying she was depressed. It was.
Oh,
It was.
Senori? Yeah.
It's Sayori.
Senori?
Sayori.
Yeah.
So
was
did
just
you all
straight up,
catch the
dating
joke?
before that?
Did you all catch the joke, though, about when they were saying about fried squid at the festival, and they're like, Monica's already there, and Ika is fried squid in Japanese.
Yeah.
And they sit there and said, oh, they may not catch it in the translation.
right.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, really cool. A bunch of really cool moments. So, like, I feel like I'm a super slow reader, but I feel like before the game turned, it was about 2 hours for me, which about an hour and a half into that, I was like, man, am I being trolled here? Like, is this really ever going to change into anything, you know? And then, like Corey said, they start hinting at depression, right? So, what's her name? Sayori talks about, she basically comes out and says that she has big depression problems. And then they hint at, like, Yuri cutting herself, kind of, and the whole night
That was
thing
in
got
her
really
poem.
weird, right?
And that was in Yuri's poem, because I remember reading it, and I'm like,
Right.
man, this chick likes to cut herself, it sounds like.
And so I kind of thought, okay, that's where this is going. It's going to get, like, very serious and heady about depression.
Yeah.
And then
Natsuki
had the eating problem thing.
Right. Yeah.
She hinted at that too.
Yep.
Yeah, 'cause she loved cupcakes.
Yeah, so like it started to lean into, like, that's where the left turn was going, and then it's like
It's
just that Monica's trying to rewrite everybody in the background, and they're not reacting well to it.
That was crazy, dude.
You know?
And the glitching didn't bother me when it started, because after you see that Senori dies, she hangs herself, and then Sayori, whatever. Fuck it, I'm not Japanese. So, and then I started noticing the glitching, and the first time you catch it, you're talking to Yuri, and all of a sudden that black text.
Yeah.
It writes on top of it. Right?
Oh, no, it's when you first restart the game.
Right.
Because you're like,
the new game is all glitched out.
and so it's funny, because did you look in the save file after that started happening?
I did.
All the save games that I made were gone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So that whole time when Monica's like, make sure you save off, and so I was doing it like a gamer, saving different, saving different paths, go back, and the glitching got me, and then it just got crazy.
It's funny with the save files also, like, once you got to the spot where it's just you and Monica at the end there, if you try to save that, it like a screen popped up that just said "Don't bother." Like, I'll
even before that, like, when she would be like,
dude, I gotta admit,
just the way it took over your computer and deleted its own files, and you couldn't move your arrow.
Yeah, the mouse part.
Like,
yeah.
I have to admit, when Sayori died, I actually started crying a little bit. I don't know where it came from. I mean, it like fucking hit me hard. I guess I was so invested at that point, and I knew she had hinted at it, but I was like, there's no way we're going there. And then walking in and seeing her body, like, my eyes started welling up. And then, like, I got fucking terrified. And as the game went on, I didn't know if I wanted to finish it. I was by myself in my house. There was just weird shit happening, and I was like, I almost felt like somebody was doing something to the game a little bit.
Because this is full spoilers. Did you tell her that you loved her, or did you tell her?
Yes, I said I loved her.
I said no.
I said no.
Who? Did you tell her?
Sayori.
Yeah. Oh, no, I told her I loved her, and that I wasn't, because I was like, oh, I'll go with this. This is a game. And then I was like,
well, it's like, I can't lie about that.
Yeah, ever since Persona 4, I don't lie about that. I stick with one woman.
I did love her, though. I had changed. I started out a Yuri, man, but then I was like, well, Yuri's just a freak. I don't want to, like, marry her.
Like, so I said
Yuri's
no,
depressing.
and I thought that she hung herself because of that. Like, how did she react to you if you said that you loved her?
She was happy, but she was terrified, and it was just too much for her to...
Too much
for her to contemplate, because she wanted everything to go back to normal, be a couple, but then, she's like, Monica's like, knew everything, and so, Senori told me everything. I'm like, what?
Yeah. she couldn't understand why she still felt the way that she did after he told her, or I told her that I loved her. She couldn't understand why she was still sad. She was like, why isn't this curing me?
Yeah.
Right.
But also, the other thing, that dialogue at the very end with Monica staring into your face was incredible.
For fucking hours.
It's just, I loved going into it. I mean, I knew it had something to do with depression before I started playing it. So, like, once she started hinting at depression, I was like, oh, it's probably going to end with her killing herself. And I was like, and then she did, and I was like, okay, I kind of expected that. The game's not as crazy as I thought. And then I saw the glitched out new game, and I was like, huh. And then it was like, what the
rabbit
fuck?
hole. Rabbit hole. Oh, when they start cursing at each other? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Well, I had to stop myself for a second because I thought I put that word in as I was reading it, just because the way it was intensifying. I just thought I'd put fuck in there. I was like, did I just read that? And I went back over the history. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and then she stabs herself and see her arms all slashed up. And that two-piece neck cracks in half. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
Well, she threw up.
yeah, she threw up all over. Yeah, I mean,
That's another thing.
It's wild.
The characters never really moved much. There was, a little bit of movement, just change of facial and stuff. The artwork was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
For a free game, I was amazed, especially if Monica in the background was changing over the windows and.
Yep.
And even though Monica tells you to delete her, delete me.
Right.
I was like, well, that's really obvious, so I'm just going to skip past that and see what else is going to happen. And for an hour, I'm like, really?
Yeah, I sat there for an hour too. And I was like, all right, is this it? And then she just got so annoying. I was like, all right, you're done.
The bit that she said about how Sayori killed herself, and like that she started scratching up to try to get herself up while hanging herself, and her knuckles were bleeding. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
I didn't read
My
that either.
God.
I got that.
Yeah. Oh,
Wow.
like, jeez.
That's crazy.
Because I was curious to how much code they had written for that conversation with Monica at the end to go.
Right.
So I was like, well, what else is there? Then I find out the Twitter handle. There's 145,000 followers on
I just
that.
followed her today. Yeah.
I did too.
I'm still a little freaked out, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just an awesome game. Unbelievable that it's free.
Yeah.
Really,
I was shocked.
Great. Out of nowhere. Unbelievable is free. I want to kind of like do some research and see if this guy's got some kind of Kickstarter or something that I could throw $5 at or something. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
He seems like he must, right? Like, yeah, because really, really cool. So yeah, I don't know where it stands overall, but I feel like, to be honest, as a game, I give it 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's a 10.
Yeah.
I mean,
It really is.
it ascended past any sort of genre of anything. I mean, it just became its own thing. I mean, and I'm hoping that other creators see that and realize there's more things that you can do with a game.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, in Japan, games like that are called visual novels. They make animes after visual novels and stuff, and I don't even know if they really even consider that a game or more of a book. Like, it's, it's more about reading.
Yeah, it's like a book you got in your cell phone,
Really?
and you're just clicking through it when you're on the train or whatever. Yep.
Yeah.
But do visual novels there take those kind of twists and break the fourth wall and that kind of stuff?
No, they're normal hitting on high school girls.
And they even mention that. They talk about, breaking the fourth wall. And then they call you by your Twitter handle, like, because I use my real name.
That's
I never use my real name in video games. I always have as my screen name. I always have a name that I use. For some reason, I just had this feeling when I started. It's like, what's your name? And I'm like, that's really weird the way you worded it. So I wrote my name in there.
I did too. Same thing.
And then when Monica, she's like, don't you go by Sonar God? And I'm like, I see what you did there. That was awesome, but I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. So yeah.
Oh man, that was heavy.
Good stuff. Yep. Heavy
was
stuff.
awesome.
It was all the way around. All right, so that's been Comically Gaming episode 88. Check out next week. We're going to do the Comic Book Club again. We're going to the Marvel 2-in-1, number 1 and 2.
Clobbering time.
Yeah, it's clobbering time. Read up on that before next week's show.
Word.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
joining me, guys. Have a good week.
Later.